Yeah, on about like 8 because the
Yeah, I was just sitting here.
started in 1890 and the incident happened in 1892.
Linda, is this your schedule? You need it? I've got one up here. Jane.
Okay.
You got a baby face, you don't look like you're 90.
Well, I think so.
Go ahead and try it out. Check 1, 2, check, check, check. That's pretty good to do. Everybody hear it?
Yes, good.
All right. Let's see. Love is a burning thing. It makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. And it burns, 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 the ring of fire, the ring of fire. Thank y'all.
We need to get you some black leather. All black, all black, all black.
We'll do this George Jones song here. Just because I asked a friend about her, and just because I spoke her name somewhere, just because I rang her number by mistake today, she thinks I still care. Just because I haunt the same old places where the memory of her lingers everywhere. Just because I'm not the happy guy I used to be, she thinks I still care. But if she's happy thinking I still need her, then let that silly notion bring her cheer. But how could she ever be so foolish? And where would she get such an idea? Just because I asked a friend about her. And just because I spoke her name somewhere, just because I saw her then went all to pieces, she thinks I still care. She thinks I still care. Well, this old smoke-filled bar is something I'm not used to, but I gave up my home to see you satisfied. And I just called to let you know where I'd be living. It's not much, but I feel welcome here inside. And I've got swinging doors, a jukebox, and a bar stool. And my new home has a flashing neon sign. Stop by and see me anytime you want to, 'cause I'm always here at home till closing time. I've got everything I need to drive me crazy, and I've got everything it takes to lose my mind. And in here the atmosphere's just right for heartaches, and thanks to you I'm always here till closing time. And I've got swinging doors, a jukebox, and a bar stool. And my new home has a flashing neon sign. Stop by and see me anytime you want to, 'cause I'm always here at home till closing time. I'm always here at home till closing time. When I was a kid, Uncle Remus had put me to bed with a picture of Stonewall Jackson above my head. Then Daddy came in to kiss his little man, with gin on his breath and a Bible in his hand. He talked about honor and things I should know. Then he staggered a little as he went out the door. I can still hear the soft southern winds in the live oak trees, and those Williams boys, they still mean a lot to me. Aiken, Tennessee, I guess we're all gonna be what we're gonna be. So what do you do with good old boys like me? Nothing makes a sound in the night like the wind does, but you ain't afraid if you're washed in the blood like I was. The smell of Cape jasmine through the windscreen, John R. and the Wolfman kept me company by the light of the radio by my bed, with Thomas Wolfe whispering in my head. I can still hear the soft southern winds in the live oak trees, and those Williams boys, they still mean a lot to me. Hank in Tennessee, I guess we're all gonna be what we're gonna be. So what do you do with good old boys like me? When I was in school, I ran with a kid down the street. And I watched him burn himself up on bourbon and speed. But I was smarter than most, and I could choose. Learn to talk like the man on the 6 o'clock news. When I was 18, Lord, I hit the road. But it really doesn't matter how far I go. I can still hear the soft southern winds in the live oak trees. And those Williams boys, they still mean a lot to me. Hank in Tennessee, I guess we're all gonna be what we're gonna be. So what do you do with good old boys like me? Yeah, what do you do with good old boys like me? Yeah, so,
We're gonna have to do our storytelling start right now.
okay,
So, that's why I want you to stick around.
okay.
That's
Well, how long is it gonna last?
Well, we'll see.
Gonna last.
We'll see if you can still be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, go on ahead and get done. I can sing the next verse of Stew Ball if you like, but I won't. Our first storyteller today is, it's a special thing to have Nancy Smith here to talk about a story that I only recently heard about, and it's so interesting. Happened during the Civil War, and we'll let Nancy come and tell us the story, and then the story comes from a journal of sorts, a book of sorts that was found from a guy whose last name was Austin, who was in a prison, and he kept his journal in this prison, and he wasn't even, he was captured by the Union, I think. But anyway, he wasn't even supposed to be there. But we have the book, and after her story, if you would like to look at the book, see Debbie Hale. Nancy Smith.
Can I move this mic over just a little bit? All right. Okay. Am I coming through all right?
Loud and clear.
Okay. If I'm loud and clear, that's what it's all about. I'll have to speak softer. I'm happy to be here today to tell a story that was told to my mother a long time ago. And first of all, I'd like to say a few words about my lineage. My father, Daddy I called him, was Thomas Jefferson Countess. He grew up on the North Fork of the Pound River. And the home place, of course, is now under the water. But he was one of 6 brothers and had 3 sisters. I have to stop and think sometimes. It was a large family, as most families were back in that day. My mother was born in Dickinson County, down on Bear Pen. And both my parents were school teachers. And in the summer, when she was not teaching, she would come and stay with her pappy and granny, Austin, who lived down toward south the mountain. And Pappy Austin was filled with stories of the travels and the travails of his family and how they came out of North Carolina, and finally they stayed in Independence, Grayson County for a while, and then they finally ended up over the river in Kentucky, and then decided that since things were getting kind of unsettled with the war between the states beginning, he decided to move back to Wise County on the border of Kentucky and Virginia. But I have a story today that I'm going to tell you about Jack Austin. And Jack Austin was a brother to my mother's, well, he would have been my mother's great uncle. Back during the war between the states, my mother's great uncle, Jack Austin, was taking a load of wool from the south of the mountain up to Wise to a carding machine. Well, while he was there, he ran into a group of Confederate soldiers who asked him to come back down to their encampment, which was between Wise and town, and spend the night with them. And I mean, he was not a soldier and never did fight in the war, but he thought that would be kind of interesting. So that's what he decided to do. Well, during the night, Jack woke up all of a sudden with the strong conviction that the enemy was bearing down on him there at that camp. Well, he ran all through the camp, waking up the soldiers and telling them, he said something bad is going to happen. He said, I think the enemy is bearing down on us. And they kind of laughed at him and told him, oh, I don't think so. You need to get back and get some sleep. Well, Jack couldn't go to sleep. And instead, he moved out of the encampment up on a hillside and kept watch. About daylight, he began to see the beginning of a line of soldiers on horseback that were coming their way. And he said, I think I'm going to run down and meet them. He said that to himself. But, and as they got closer, he was greatly relieved to see the gray color of their uniforms. And he said, well, these are my friends. These are the people I talk to. As it turned out, they weren't rebels at all, but they were Yankees in disguise. Mm-hmm. And Jack was taken prisoner along with all the other people that he had tried to warn in the encampment. They were taken up to Camp Douglas, Illinois, and it was a prison camp in Illinois, And Jack, like many others, never lived to tell the tale. They all, so many of them, got yellow fever. And some survived and some didn't. But my great-great uncle, Jack Austin, sadly was one who did not survive to tell the tale. But while he was there, he did manage to write down this kind of story of his life. And whenever he saw how sick he was, he knew he was going to die. And he enclosed this history that he had written down in a testament, which he put inside a songbook or a hymn book, and sent it back to his mother. And today we actually have a copy of the hymnal that was sent back, and some pictures. Debbie Hale has them, and I'm sure you might be interested in looking at those. I'm interested in looking at them too, because he actually had scribbled some messages around the pages in the hymn book. So his mother, who finally received this, was my great aunt, and of course Jack Austin was my great uncle. The way that the Civil War was fought here in these mountains was a little different than it was in some other parts. This region was known as border country. You know, the border, Virginia and Kentucky borders, and a lot of the fighting was done along the border. One day the Rebs would come through and grab up a bunch of men. The next day the Yanks would do the same thing. And all too often what happened was neighbor fighting neighbor, father fighting son, and brother fighting brother. And I would like to sing a song for you at this time. And I apologize for all my papers and things. I used to do some touring. Well, I did a lot of touring with Roadside Theater in addition to my regular job. And, but I've been away from that for a long time, and I have to have my props anymore. So. And I'm going to just wing it and hit the best key I can, since I'm going to do it a cappella. A cappella. Today two brothers rode away. One wore blue, one wore gray. One was gentle, one was kind. One rode on, one stayed behind. Across the battlefield that day, a sea of blue and a sea of gray, as they bravely marched along, fife and drum played freedom's song. Oh, cannonballs, don't pay no mind if you're gentle or you're kind. Nor does it matter wrong or right, a rich man's war, a poor man's fight. Today two brothers rode away. One wore blue, one wore gray. One was gentle, one was kind. One rode on, one stayed behind. One was gentle, one was kind. One rode on, one stayed behind. And I look forward to sharing some of this afternoon with all of you. And it looks like we're going to have an audience for sure. And I would say there will be more as the days go on. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That's all right. I'm glad to be here.
Huh? You want to speak? Okay, this is Debbie Hale. This is I call her my hero.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that came last night. We had, over 50 people sitting here under the tent with the rain coming down and had a wonderful evening together. And also, I'd like to thank everyone who's come back today, or if you weren't here last night, we really appreciate you being here. As Nancy said, Jack Austin was the son of Jesse Austin, and Jesse's mother was the very first person buried in the Austin Cemetery down south of the mountain. She was born in the 1700s. That's about as far back as I've gone in my family. Jesse's daughter, who would be Jack's sister, was my great-great-great-grandmother, Mahalia Austin Bradley. If you've looked in the Wise County history book, you'll see her picture with her spinning wheel. And I'm really proud to know that history, to know those folks. And when my grandmother, Mahalia's granddaughter, passed away and we were going through pictures, I realized that my grandmother had this book, and I'm not sure how long or where she got it. But this is the coolest thing that I found, I think, within those pictures, because this is the book that Jack Austin had with him in prison. And his name is in the front. You'll notice his name was, probably other people in that time period, his name was Andrew Jackson Austin. And if you look through it, I'll pass it around. You're welcome to look at it. And but it is kind of like a little religious prayer book. It isn't a Bible. For a while we thought that he might have had a Bible with him, and he may have, but I don't have the Bible. I have a little book that's a prayer book, and in it he has written, "This day I set out to serve the Lord." And there's a little bit more written there, and it's dated 1859. Okay. And he signed it. And as you look through the book, you'll see in the margins that he had taken time, I guess, in reading it. He would write some thoughts around the edge of the margins. But the one that really stood out to me is, at one point he said, "I have no wish to live." And I can just imagine being in the Camp Douglas in the Yankee prison and knowing that you may never be able to see your family or these mountains again. Within the book, I've brought some pictures. One of the pictures was taken in the Austin Cemetery, and the lady in the bonnet is Jack's daughter, Melissa, and it's written on the back. You can see that. I also brought a couple of pictures of Nancy's great-great-grandfather, David Austin. He's the older man sitting in the middle, and my great-great-grandmother, Mahalia. They were brother and sister, and they were Jack's brothers and sisters. I know it's kind of hard to keep up with all this, and I'm kind of like Nancy. I still have to kind of look it up from time to time to make sure that what I'm saying is accurate. But I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy this history and hearing about things that happened in this area, and I appreciate you guys coming out today. Thank you.
let me tell you that if later on there'll be a break for you all to order food and go get it, sit and eat a minute. And there is a menu on the window there of the historical building. They've agreed $5, and that's what you can get for $5 from Subway, Pixie, and Pizza Plus. And that break will be at 1:30. And also, for those of you who've just got here today, the restroom is at the end of the building to the left. And there are drinks and chips for sale inside on the honor system. You just go in and get you a Coke and the chips or whatever and put your money there in the jar. So we're going to have a little change in schedule. We have with us today Strawberry Jam. I love these people. Yay! Jane Branham is our own hometown girl who sings a pretty song. And she has with her Buddy Delp. And you all probably know them well. And if we're going to give the mic to them now. Enjoy.
Jane, you want a chair instead of the stove?
Oh no, this is good. Yeah. Howdy.
Howdy!
Howdy. Howdy.
While Buddy's getting his instruments, our instruments and stuff, I was just gonna say that I believe Debbie and both Nancy are my cousins, because Mahalia Mosley Austin was also my whatever great-great-great-grandmother. Yeah. I was born, not born, but raised in Pound. Right? And not lived here since I was 16, but still feels like home. Anyway, we come to sing you a few songs, most of which we wrote, and I think maybe one that we didn't. So this, if I had time, I'd tell you some stories, but we're just doing a little 30-minute music thing for you today.
You can tell a story.
Well, I'll tell you a story maybe before one song. How's that? But I enjoyed your music, sir. It was really good. Thank you.
He's 17.
He's 17.
Wow.
Damn. Can't argue with that. You too.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm slow.
All righty. He's got a tune, and I guess maybe I do have to tell a short story. I'm sorry, I apologize for not having a voice today, but my mom has been real sick and taken 2 really bad falls, and I'm staying down there with her day and night, except for one day, and that's Saturday. So I'm here, ain't got much of a voice, but we'll try.
What are you gonna play first?
Day by day.
Day by
We're
day.
gonna do a little song, a little original song called Day by Day.
Life was so simple years ago. Living was fast, but time went by slow. No way of knowing what the future would hold. I'll just step back and let it unfold and remember what you used to say. Take it one step at a time, day by day.
Listen to your heart, it'll show you the way. Never give in, take it day by day, take it day by day. Take it day by day. Take it day by day. Take it day by day.
Not easy in this day and time. I've worked all my life and I don't have a dime.
What is important I've come to realize. The love that I have in my family ties. I remember what you used to say. Take it one step at a time, day by day. Listen to your heart, it'll show you the way. Never give in, take it day by day, take it day by day. Take it day by day. Take it day by day.
Take it day by day. Now that I'm older and years have gone by, and nothing is simple, and I don't know why.
I know I'll keep trying to make it some way.
Work as hard as I can,
Day by day, take it day by day. Take it day by day.
take it day
By day.
take it day
By day.
take it day by day. Take it day by day.
Thank you. Brock is leaving us a stiff tonight. Thank you, Brock.
Thank you.
Good to hear you.
Beautiful
Great.
work. Love what you did.
I love this place. This is great. I remember when this was the Orbit station. But I'm glad to see it put to good use again. This is a great use. Nice little community place to gather. Thanks for inviting us. It's good to be here. We're gonna sing another original tune for you. This is on our CD, and it's something people can relate to. It's about growing up poor, which most people did around here. It's called "Those Was the Good Old Days."
Times were hard,
Not much to eat. carried wood and coal for the heat. We thank God for what we had. Looking back, it wasn't so bad. Mama said, where there's a will, there's a way. Never knew that one day we'd say, those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. We had no shoes on our feet, our pants had holes in the seat. Knees had stitches, patches and stains. Now we call them designer jeans. No vulgars, no music, no DVDs. Just wading the creek and climbing the trees. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. Saturday night, well, we thought everything was alright. That was always a special treat, a soft drink and something to eat. We played hard, we fight and scratch, get a ball and go play catch. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. Powdered milk, powdered eggs, government cheese. Thank you, Lord, I'll have some more, please. When you don't know what you ain't got, you got a loving family, you've got a lot. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. Those good old days. Yeah. Were the good old days. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's fun. Wonderful group here today. And it's a fairly nice day. We expect a little bit of rain and cool weather, right? But this is pretty nice. Short sleeves. Y'all are more hardy than I am. I gotta have long sleeves on.
Me too, I've got long johns on.
Got long johns on. Okay, I didn't go that far. You gonna tell a story?
I was. I can find a pig.
Good. While Jane's gone, I'll tell a story. She don't like for me to tell stories. I'll tell a story on her. She's gonna hurry now. Anyway, well, I'll back up and tell a little bit. I think last year we did that song here, or at the other venue, but it's for this festival. And you know, I grew up in Exeter, Virginia. Jane grew up here, but I grew up in Exeter, a coal camp. And so that song we just did was kind of a lot of memories that I had growing up. And times were hard. The mine operations were intermittent. It was a boom or bust type of a thing. Either you were doing really well or you were not doing very good at all. But that made us strong and made us not expect anything for free, and that we've got to work hard and just stay on point with whatever the family's trying to do. And while it was a little bit hard while you're going through that, now I can look back and say that was the good old days, I guess, because we learned a lot of basic principles of living and so forth. Jane's looked at me like, I'm going to tell a story. But anyway, I'll let Jane tell
I
her
was just going to
story.
tell you, I'm going to sing a song now that was written by my uncle, not me. And like I said, I grew up in Pound, and my daddy was, my granddad was Cooch Branham, which a lot of people remember. And his son, my dad's half-brother, they call him Coogie. But he lives in Knoxville now, and he does not like that name, so he goes by Lowell. Anyway, this is a little song he wrote about people that spend their last dime on a lottery ticket. And God knows I bought one, but I ain't spending my last dime. But this is about people that do. It's called Powerball.
There's a big old hole in the bottom of my shoe,
And the rent is now 2 months past due. My old jalopy just barely runs, and the mailman brings me nothing but guns. Well, the TV set's gone on the blink, and the leak has sprung in the kitchen sink. On top of all my other woes, my socks no longer hide my toes. But a better day is gonna come. We'll have our moment in the sun, though it may not be this spring or fall. I know someday we'll win Powerball. When my turn comes to hit my pick, I'll never strike another lick. We'll bid farewell to being poor and drive that old wolf from the door. When there's a big jackpot at stake, before the kids might have to wait. But when we win this Powerball game, instead of milk, we'll drink champagne. But a better day is gonna come. We'll have our moment in the sun, though it may not be this spring or fall. I know someday we'll win Powerball. Politicians catch all kinds of flack. There's always someone on their back. I think it's just a doggone shame, the way they always get the blame. Now I don't look for no scapegoat. Long as they run, they'll get my vote. 'Cause when they pass that lottery, they prove they care for folks like me. But a better day it's gonna come. We'll have our moment in the sun, though it may not be this spring or fall. I know someday we'll win Powerball. May not be this spring or fall. I know someday we'll win Powerball.
Thank you. Everybody run out and buy a ticket now, lottery ticket.
We'll do a couple more for you, and then we'll turn it over.
Now, y'all was talking about the good old days, but you want to place a little smoke on the water. We're going back to the good old days.
Smooth
That's how.
Thank you.
Actually,
Last year, I think you called for Freebird.
I think it is.
God, you're a troublemaker, Royce.
Hey, he played off.
No, that's how Buddy and I met. We both joined up the same rock and roll band, and we kind of branched out on our own and did some stuff.
Well, the band just kind of fell apart around us and left us, more or less, is what happened there, I think.
I'm gonna sing a song for you that Buddy wrote about veterans who go to war. Some come home, some don't. Some know why, some don't. But it's a tribute to them all who served. And it's called Land of the Free.
Sam in World War II. Young and brave, barely a man, sent to fight in a foreign land. Country boy from the Appalachian Hills, learned to die and learned to kill. Stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. Uncle Sam said, I need you. A time to die, a time to live. No time to cry, another life to give. There's nowhere else for me but the land of the free. Shell-shock battle and damaged soul. The war was won and he came home, but Uncle Sam called again before long. The Korean conflict had just begun. You gotta go back and do your duty, son. Stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. Uncle Sam said, I need you. A time to die, a time to live. No time to cry, another life to give. There's nowhere else for me but the land of the free. The land of the free. The land of the free. that freedom's not free, that a price is paid for you and me. Stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. Uncle Sam said, I need you. A time to die, a time to live. No time to cry, another life to give. There's nowhere else for me but the land of the free. The land of the free. The land of the free. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that. Oh, Jane's got to go down off stage. I get to tell another story. Oh, I don't think it's legal. She got behind me and hit me where nobody could see that. You all don't see what goes on sometimes.
Better hush.
Well, Jane will set this song up, but we really like playing this song because it's
Yeah, this is
it
gonna be
comes right
my,
back to this town here.
okay.
Where's that River Road at anyway?
Well, here's the little story that goes along with it. My daddy grew up on south of the mountain road up there at Haddonfield, if y'all know where that's at.
That's where I live.
Right below the Haddon Cemetery. Royce knows, because he's my cousin. And anyway, my dad, my grandma, I get this song from several places. My mama, my dad's mom, passed away, and when she was in the nursing home, I used to go see her a lot, and one day she was up there saying something about going up the river road, and I was like, where'd you learn that song? I don't know, she made it up. So I took a little piece of that and some things my dad told me about his uncle, who would have been my great uncle that I did not know. He died before I was born. His name was Clint Branham, and he was a drunk. Okay, but I'm told he was one of the kindest people on earth, and he always carried candy in his pockets for the little kids, and never had a harsh word to say to anyone, and everybody loved Clint. And Dad said he'd go up and down the road all the time, walking up the road to up where the Pound River flows up south of the mountain, singing, I pray, I pray, I pray. And so I just thought, you know, we can't judge another person, and we don't know who goes to heaven and who don't. But the name of this song is River Road. Uncle Clint was killed by a car while he was walking on the side of the road one night. And so it's called River Road. Thinking about the stories my pap told me about the river road. Barefoot boys with fishing poles, and folks just getting where they need to go. One day he overheard Uncle Clint as he staggered on the way. People said he's just a drunk, don't pay no mind to anything he said. Tears were flowing down his face as he wrung his hands and bowed his head in pain. He sobbed and fell down to his knees. He said, "Dear God, I need you, please." And then he said, "I pray, I pray, I pray. Oh Lord, let me fly away on the wings of your love that I'm not worthy of. I pray, I pray, I pray. his kind and gentle soul. I wonder how the word could be so blind and be so cold. The day came when they found Uncle Clint by the side of the road. A car had put him down where wildflowers grow. Going up the river road, voices seemed to echo down the hollow. A man got up and walked away, and who among you cannot say he flies? He said, I pray, I pray, I pray. Oh Lord, let me fly away on the wings of your love that I'm not worthy of. I pray, I pray, I pray. I pray, I pray, I pray. Thank y'all.
Thank you so very much. We've really enjoyed this. This is a wonderful festival that you're having here, and thank you to the Historical Society.
And it'll always feel like home, by the way.
Thank you so very
I'm gonna
much.
tell y'all something. My mama every day is demented, and every day she says, "When are we going home?" And I go, "You are home, Mom." "No, I mean pound."
Where's Sarah? Did you tell her that we did break?
Remind people to go register. Because we give it away when we come back.
Okay, you know, we've got to be flexible, so we've kind of changed the schedule around. So we'll take our break now. It's pretty early, but we'll go ahead and take our break now. And what we have going on here is one of our storytellers, Oakley Dean Baldwin, is going to give away some antique belt buckles. All you've got to do is, if you've not already, is to write your name and put it in the basket. And he's going to be drawing out pretty soon. I don't know what time, when we come back from the break. And whoever's name he draws gets a free antique belt buckle. And I think he's going to try to do something else again after later on in this afternoon. Right?
He's got 2 of them.
He's got 2 of them. Okay. So after, he'll draw again. You got 2 chances. So go ahead and you can order your meal there. You can just enjoy what's going on. The Apple Shop has a table over here of information. Let me say, I hope Marley or Becca, one, will talk a little bit about what all Apple Shop has done for this area. There's so much that could never happen if it were not for Apple Shop and the way they're organized and the way they reach out and help small communities do big things. So go to that table for information and just enjoy yourself for about, we'll be meeting back here at 2.